Hey everyone, we're doubling up on videos coming, well, pretty quickly right now because I wanted to talk about something that Greg actually caught that I had missed. And this was part of the Fantastic Four Day stuff that I talked about previously. This is the fact that the page that it takes you to get the comics, which I will have the link down in the description below, actually says Future Foundation. Why does this matter? Why potentially is this important? Well, the Future Foundation tends to be a group that the Fantastic Four run that contains their kids. Their kids are characters that I've wanted to see in the MCU as part of the Fantastic Four immediately. Why? Because it would make the Fantastic Four different from what we've seen before. We've always seen the origin story. It's always been Sue and Reed falling in love. Got nothing against that, but we've seen it. It's much like what Sony and Marvel did with Spider-Man. We don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. We already know that Uncle Ben passed away, and we had that moment with the Tom Holland Spider-Man and Aunt May, and some line around, or some version of the line around, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, we got all of that, but that came later. And it's important to Spider-Man to have that. I don't know that there's anything that really feels as important for the Fantastic Four. So let's skip what happened before. We don't need to know that, especially with the stuff that came out on Fantastic Four Day, 4-4. Again, in case you have forgotten, the poster that came out, it kind of has this retro futuristic look. It's the 60s idea of what the future was going to look like. A 60s aesthetic, not full on Jetsons, but a little bit of that. I think Greg is onto something with kind of that look and feel for it. But it's a little bit different. Obviously, it's going to be cleaned up a little bit. It's still more grounded than something like the Jetsons is, but there's going to be futuristic elements to it. It's going to be an Earth, another Earth that has progressed differently than ours. Why does that matter? Well, if this takes place in the 60s, or if it's a retro futuristic 60s looking time, even if it's parallel to the MCU currently, the Fantastic Four can already exist. And that's really important. To get to the Future Foundation, you need the Fantastic Four to exist. You need Sue and Reed to be married. You need them to have kids at that point. You need them to have explored the universe, to have pulled in different aliens and people from across the world, across the universe, to be part of this Future Foundation. And it's going to be an interesting mix of characters, potentially, depending on how much they lean into it. But I think that would be really cool to see kind of a different take, a different stab, a different direction to head with a Fantastic Four, and to maybe even lean into the Future Foundation causing some of the issues, the kids being the problem, calling in Galactus somehow, drawing attention of Galactus, drawing the Surfer in, or potentially even being the solution to hop to a different universe. I said before, I think that Marvel made some choices about who they've announced and why they announced a Silver Surfer on Fantastic Four Day. But I'm going to be really curious, looking forward to Gen Con, to see what announcements might come, because I think there's a chance we get announcements for Franklin Richards, for Valeria Richards, and some other characters who are part of the Future Foundation that we might not think of normally. Does it interest you to have a Future Foundation, to have a team, a group that is tied to the Fantastic Four, but not them, as part of the Fantastic Four story? Would it be too much? What do you think on that? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comment section below. If you want to know when we have videos, click that notification bell and subscribe. That's going to be the best way to know when we have a new video coming up. And if you want bigger, deeper dives into Marvel things, check out our podcast, 10 Min Marvel. You can find that on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, they're gone, Spotify, or wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.